Good evening, everyone. Sir Jude back. Uh, Tonight, I will be recapping our lesson this morning, which was about the menstrual cycle. But before that, let's recap our previous lesson about the female reproductive system. So just like what we did by recapping the male reproductive system, all you have to do is identify the number and the name of the part of the reproductive system responsible for the following. So number one, population is number five. Number five, this corresponds to the vagina. Then number two, egg fertilization is number two, which corresponds to the fallopian tubes. This is where the egg cell meets the sperm cell to form the zygote, otherwise known as the fertilized egg. Then number three, zygote implantation. This is number three, uterus. This is where the zygote develops into a fetus that will attach to itself, expectedly for 9 months. Then number four, connecting the uterus to the vagina. This is number four, the cervix. And then lastly, producing egg and sex hormones. This is number one, the ovaries. All right. So let's proceed to our actual lesson, which is the menstrual cycle. I'd like to there are four phases of the menstrual cycle. So we have menstrual, follicular, ovulation, and luteal. Even though in this slide, the menstrual phase is found from days 1 to 5, no, I would like to save it for last. And I don't want to be very day specific in this topic. I want to be uh let's focus first on the sexual hormones and how do they affect the female reproductive system. Because some of the days, no, they're not really strictly followed because every woman has a different reproductive history. So I would like to start the phases of the menstrual cycle with phase number one, also known as the follicular phase or the pre-egg release. So I gave you a handout, no, and ask you to mark the days wherein follicular phase will be spotted or located. When you say pre-egg release, this is where egg the egg cell is not yet released. So let's take a look at the concentrations of the sexual hormones, pituitary hormones and ovarian hormones, as well as the thickness of the uterus under pre-egg release. So, by the way, FSH is represented by the pink curve, LH by the blue curve, then estrogen also a pink curve, progesterone blue curve, and then the uterus is the one found at the last image. Okay, so using or by reading the trends, no, we can see that the follicular stimulating hormone increases, luteinizing hormone increases, estrogen increases, progesterone's concentration is steady, while the uterus thickens. So because this is pre-egg release, don't expect the egg cell to be released, so egg cell is unreleased, and therefore pregnancy is highly impossible. So whenever a heterosexual couple decides to have sex, then therefore there's no possibility of a baby forming. All right. So let's move on to the second phase. So what happens when the egg is now finally released? So we call that the ovulation phase. The release of the egg cell, at least one egg cell every month. So let's take a look at what happens at the concentration of the pituitary and ovarian hormones, as well as the thickness of the uterus. So the pituitary hormones and estrogen, all of them increase and are at their maximum concentrations because they're at their peaks, no? Progesterone's concentration is still steady, while uterus also thickens. So because egg is now released, then therefore pregnancy is highly possible. And for women, you know that you ovulate when you see a white stuff or yellowish stuff coming out of your underwear or pads. And I've heard some other people calling the ovulated egg as the white mens, no? Like white menstruation. Okay? So now that the egg is released, it's time to focus what happens after it is released. And that's what we call the luteal phase or the post-egg release. So now that we have the egg cell, let's take a look at what will happen at the concentration because this is the point wherein the concentrations of the pituitary hormones and the ovarian hormones begin shifting. So this time, the FSH and LH concentrations become steady. They decrease first, then they become steady, very low. Then estrogen starts to fluctuate. At first, it decreases, then increases, then it decreases again. So it's not entirely consistent. That's why it's fluctuating. While for progesterone, no, it starts to increase at maximum. And this is also the point wherein the uterus thickens at maximum as well. So notice that for the past three phases, including this one, no, the uterus is always thickening. That's because this is the point wherein the egg cell will decide, will have like a sort of decision making. If a sperm cell fertilizes an egg cell at the fallopian tube, therefore the woman will undergo pregnancy for 9 months. Okay? However, if there's no sperm cell fertilizing an egg cell, then therefore the woman will proceed to menstruation. All right. So we're now at the final step of the menstrual cycle, the menstruation itself, or the menstrual phase, otherwise known as bleeding. Okay. So at this point, you don't see the table of the trends of the pituitary and ovarian hormone levels, as well as the uterus. But as you can see from the graph, all hormones already drop and return to their original concentrations. They become replenished. What happens to the uterus this time? So as you can see in the uterus, the extrauterine layer and its arteries constrict, break, and exit the vagina as blood. So not only does the menstruation of a woman contains the unfertilized egg cell, but also the extrauterine layer. That's why some females experience menstrual cramps, otherwise known as dysmenorrhea. It's very extremely painful. Okay? And therefore, because this is the last and all hormones drop and replenish, the cycle resumes again. So after menstruation, which is expected to be maximum of 7 days, then follicular, then ovulation, then luteal, then back to menstrual phase again. All right. Some terminologies associated to menstruation. No? So we have menarche. When we say menarche, that's the first menstruation, the sign that a girl is now a big girl, no? This is the mark of female adolescence, nagdadalaga na, alongside other secondary sexual characteristics. Then we also have menopause, the last menstruation or the late adulthood. So it's kind of strategic, no, that menstruation happens after the childhood and at the same time before a woman experiences late adulthood. No? So when you say menopause, that's the time wherein women do not have a period for a year. And that's because ovaries decline producing hormones due to old age. Siyempre, tumatanda tayo, lahat ng mga hormones or organs or functions sa katawan natin nag-start na rin manghina. And for women's case, no, their sex hormones or pituitary hormones and ovarian hormones, they start to degenerate as well. Kaya hindi na rin nare-reglahin. That's the final curtain call of the menstrual period for women at late adulthood. So, some questions about menstruation. So, while menstruation is painful, why is it still important? So, you might be wondering, no, bakit even masakit yung menstruation, bakit importante pa rin siya? That's because it releases waste in the form of unfertilized egg cell and extrauterine layer. It's kind of fascinating that the uterus thickens because it is anticipating for a baby. But since wala naman darating na sperm cell, then therefore, the egg cell will remain unfertilized and the extrauterine layer is kind of unhealthy and irrelevant inside the woman's body. So it is actually kind of healthy. Kaya you need to release this too, even though it's again painful. Now, fact or bluff? Washing your face with Menarche blood will make your face smooth and pimple free. This is bluff because this is very unhygienic. Some people, this statement is effective for them, while for others, it's not effective. So it's not 100% consistent to every adolescent women. And they have no correlation actually. Okay, number three, fact or bluff. Jumping 3 steps downwards on a staircase will reduce your menstrual phase to 3 days. This is another bluff. This is just a super station. Um, if anything, dapat hindi na tumatalon kasi if jumping 3 steps will reduce the menstrual phase to 3 days, then not jumping at all, uh, the basically no menstruation. So again, this has no scientific basis, more of like a superstition. Kaya this is a bluff. Okay. What is dysmenorrhea or menstrual cramps? I think I mentioned this a while ago. A muscular discomfort occurring in the lower abdomen caused by bursting arteries and shedding extrauterine layer. This usually happens second to fourth days of the menstrual phase. Not everyone experiences menstrual cramps, which is lucky for them. They don't have that. But for those, no, they drink some vitamins or supplements to ease the pain. Okay. Now, is it safe to take a bath during menstruation? The answer is yes, it is because personal hygiene matters. All right, so I'm very excited to tackle the next topic, which is also related to menstruation. And that topic is called the calendar method because we will now deal on which days are uh, safe for a couple to have sex, for it to be unsafe for them to have sex. All right, and with that, see you tomorrow and goodbye and good night.